You're at a party. Someone walks up, big smile, arms open, and calls you by name. You smile back. You hug them. And somewhere behind your eyes, a quiet alarm is going off. Who is this person? You spoke to them for 20 minutes last month. You remember their dog's name. You remember they're going through something hard at work. But their name, their actual name, is completely, mortifyingly gone. You laugh it off later. You say you're terrible with names. But here's what nobody tells you. Forgetting names isn't a memory failure. It's a signal. And once you know what it's pointing to, you'll never see it the same way again. This is for the person who genuinely cares about people and somehow still can't hold on to who they are. Not the distracted, not the disinterested. The ones who pay attention to everything except the label. Stay until the end. Because the last 2 minutes aren't about forgetting at all. Pattern 1. Your brain has a bandwidth problem. In 1956, a cognitive psychologist named George Miller published a paper that quietly changed how we understand the human mind. He called it the magical number 7. His argument was simple and devastating. Working memory can only juggle around 7 pieces of information at once, plus or minus 2. That's it. Now think about what happens the moment you meet someone new. You're managing their face, their posture, the sound of their voice, the context you're in, how you feel about being there, whether you said something weird 2 seconds ago, and what they might think of you. Your brain is already at capacity. The name, which arrives early, arrives once, arrives fast, gets bumped, not because you don't care, because you're already full. And if your nervous system runs a little hotter than most, your working memory isn't at 7, it's at 9. It's overclocked. The name was never going to make it. Pattern 2. You were wired to read people, not label them, but cognitive load only explains part of it. For some people, and you might be one of them, the real reason goes somewhere much darker and much more specific. Think about the child who learned early that attention is unpredictable, that the safest thing to do is to read people deeply and quickly. Not their name, which is a label, which means nothing about whether they're safe, but their affect, their energy, the micro-expression that flashes across a face before the mask goes back up. That child grows into an adult who can tell you in 30 seconds whether someone is sad or hiding something or putting on a show. They read rooms. They feel people, like a tuning fork bent into shape by an early world that required it. They hum at a frequency most people never even notice. They just can't tell you what the person's name is, because their nervous system was never trained to treat names as information that matters. It learned to track signal, not symbol. Your brain didn't malfunction. It was optimized for a different world. Pattern 3. This goes back further than you. Here's the part most people skip, because it's uncomfortable, because it asks you to look not just at yourself, but at the rooms you came from. The sensitivity that makes you bad with names didn't start with you. It was already alive in someone before you arrived. Maybe a parent who could read a mood shift from 3 rooms away. A grandparent who survived something that required them to be permanently, exhaustingly alert. Someone who learned, long before you were born, that safety lives in reading people, not in remembering what they're called. This isn't metaphor. This is how nervous systems are shaped across generations, not through stories told at dinner, but through atmosphere, through the specific quality of silence before an argument, through the way a parent's body changed when someone walked in the room. You absorbed it before you had language for it, before you even knew there was anything to absorb. And so, you arrived into your own life already fluent in a language most people don't know exists. You could feel the temperature of a room shift before anyone spoke. You could sense when someone's smile didn't reach their eyes. You knew, without knowing how you knew, when something was wrong. That wasn't a gift you chose. It was a survival skill you inherited. And here's what makes it strange. That same inheritance, that same wiring, is also what makes you extraordinary to be around. People like you make the friends others call at 2 a.m. You're the one who noticed 6 months ago at a party that someone seemed off and asked about it quietly, without making it a scene. You catch things. You hold people. Not in your memory of their name, but in something older and more accurate than that. The cost is real, though. In a culture that treats name remembering as the basic unit of respect, you will spend years apologizing for something that is, underneath everything, a sign of how hard your nervous system has always been working. The shame is familiar, and it was never supposed to be yours. What you try instead. So what do you actually do with this? Not the memory palace, not the productivity hack. Something that works with your wiring instead of against it. The first thing, when you meet someone new, your instinct is to immediately move into the conversation, into reading them, into figuring out who they are beneath the surface. That's what your brain does. So before it does that, give yourself 2 seconds. Just 2. Repeat the name once, quietly, inside your head. Not as a command, as a small act of translation. You already saw them. This just makes it legible to the world. The second thing is about the moment after you forget, because you will forget. And when you do, the worst thing is to spiral, apologizing 3 times, making it the center of the interaction, treating it as evidence of something broken in you. It isn't. What actually works is simpler. Honesty without drama. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on your name right now. Said lightly, said once. Most people don't care nearly as much as you think they do. And the ones who do? That's information about them, not about you. The third thing takes longer. It's learning to stop treating name forgetting as a moral failure. You have spent years in a culture that equates remembering names with caring about people. But, because you've lived it, that these things are not the same. You can hold someone's whole interior world in your memory and still lose the word they go by. The guilt has been a distraction. What you actually need to practice is arriving, fully, without the background hum of self-monitoring that's been running since before you can remember. Because that hum, it was never about the names. It was about whether it was safe to be present at all. The question, underneath everything. If you've spent years feeling bad about this, let that go a little. The question this pattern has been quietly asking your whole life is simply this. Is it safe here to just arrive? Because the name isn't where you live. The person is. You're not forgetting people. You're just holding them somewhere that doesn't have words. Drop a name in the comments. Not someone you forgot. Someone who made you feel seen, even though they might not remember yours either. Because someone else watching this needs to know they're not alone in the room.